Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer podcast. I'm your host, Katy Ray, and I am with the beautiful Vanessa Charles. She has joined the show, even though she has her own podcast. It's fine. She joined my show. Thanks for joining. We met through some like women events and shit like that. Just, talk to people, get to know people. Sometimes your views align and it's fun to chat with others. So let's jump right into you. Since you're like, what are we going to fucking talk about today?
I was driving here. My mom was like, what are you doing the podcast about? I was like, I have no idea.
Don't know.
Just chat.
Which is why I do this. So it's really just people's stories, right? And I love that you said you have a lot of stuff shifting because in your previous season, you might have been focusing on something else. But I do think you are huge on empowering women, which I am.
Oh my God, yeah.
Very big on just letting people live their lives and be happy. And I know that recently, I feel like it's kind of recent, the breathing coach, and that was new.
Within the last year and a half ago, I started the training, finished it about a year ago. And it's been so transformational and amazing and an unexpected compliment to what I'm doing, but I love it.
I love that with Amplify and everything, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Amplify.
So Amplify is started as my love project to just put a ton of women in a room and pour into them and give them information on up-leveling their lives and their business and kind of creating a community. Okay, first let me say, I love this whole boss babe online community, but there are very toxic parts of the community. As much as they preach community over competition, it's still very competitive and stepping on each other and mean girl. And I wanted to create a space that was rid of all of that, that just brought women together and helped them and in a very inclusive and empowering way. And we started 2019 was our first event. We had 100 people in the room. It was amazing. And then last year we had to go virtual because of COVID.
But
it was, I'm going to say I think last year's virtual event was better than the first year's in-person event. We pulled it off. It was amazing. And then our next event hopefully will be September of this year.
Good. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so say all the things that you do right now.
Okay. I'm a real estate agent. Amplify, the event is a once a year thing.
Yep.
I have a coaching program right now and a breathwork program.
Now you separate it and bring it together.
Yes.
So sometimes it's.
Yep. So what I'm finding is that pairing the breath work with the coaching is creating incredible results, not only for myself, but for the people that I'm working with. So I'm sort of now kind of just stepping into the fact I can do them together and that's okay. And it doesn't fucking matter what anybody else says.
And you should because you see it helping.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, is your clientele all women right now?
Yes.
But you have your badass husband who's super supportive.
I do. He's an incredible feminist, vulnerable, powerful man. And he has probably been the biggest transformational thing that's happened in my whole life.
Love it.
Our relationship.
I love that. And you've only been married, though.
6 months yesterday.
Oh my gosh, how
2 days ago was 6 months.
Hey, look at the newlyweds.
Yeah.
Lovely. Don't listen to people like, oh, your newlywed stage phase is out. I hate when people fucking say shit like that. Don't listen to people.
Okay, listen. Can I just say that actually, we just recorded an episode for our podcast on this. Nobody prepares you for what the first 6 months of marriage will be like. And maybe it's just because there was a pandemic, but let me tell you, I rewatched our video yesterday of when we were saying our vows. And I remember standing there being like, this is it. We've done all the work. We made it. And then I didn't know it was just starting. The work we have done over the last 6 months.
Signed up to start working that day, which is horrible.
Yes.
You're so funny. And a little bit is COVID, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, I don't know if these are real stats. I'm just going to throw random stats out. Divorce rate, risen. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's real. But
it is real.
But it's because people can't, they don't, want to be around each other. And you're like, why did you marry that person? You're just confused.
And I think when you were in a relationship before COVID, you didn't have to spend every moment with that person. You kind of got a break. Yeah.
You had your separation and then
which allowed you to not deal with the shit, right? You could just be well, whatever. I don't have to deal with that today. And brush things under the rug. But when you're forced to be in the same space with someone all day, every day, and working together, other things.
Did your breath work come in handy?
So do you want to hear something funny about breathwork? The very first session I ever led on my own was for Randy, and he was my guinea pig. It was terrible. Awful.
Don't tell him, but it was
it was bad. And I had to apologize afterwards because I was like, you're not doing it right. You're not even trying. And that's not what breathwork is about. It's just supposed to be whatever you do. And so he doesn't usually breathe with me anymore.
So he refuses to breathe around me now?
Well, I don't know if he refuses, but we just don't. I just don't ask. But we do other sessions that other people lead.
Yeah.
But I breathe. I do breathwork stuff almost every day.
Yeah. I mean, you're coaching it. I would assume you're doing it because you're living it. But that's hilarious. But it was nice that he wanted to be the guinea pig.
Yeah. I mean, he's a trooper. He's the best.
Did he say it was horrible or did you feel it?
No, I think we both did. He was kind of panicking and I was like, you're just not trying. And afterwards I called my mentor. I was like, I don't know what went wrong. And she was like, you just have to let it unfold. So it was a learning experience.
Thank you. And you both met in Tampa?
We did. We're both from Michigan, but we met here.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Michigan.
I picked him up.
I like that. And as you should.
I did.
As it shouldn't be a not common thing. It shouldn't be I picked him up.
Right. I saw him and I was like, that's the one that I want. And so I bought him a shot. And
the rest was the end of it. And here we are.
Now we're married to 5 cats.
Oh my gosh. Stop. Do you have 5 cats?
We do.
I love it. I want you to know also, Vanessa talked about my middle part before we started.
It's there again.
Is it still there?
Looks great.
Thank you. But we are not giving up our skinny jeans.
You're very trendy.
We're not giving up our skinny jeans.
You will have to pry them off of my cold dead body.
When I try to pull them off, that's what you'll have to do. When I peel them off, when I take them off. Don't try me. I will not go to baggy jeans. No Jinkos here. But yeah, gotta love it. So also, okay, can we talk about, I don't know how old you were when you did that march.
Oh, the Slut Walk.
Yes.
The march.
We talk about that?
The march.
How old were you?
It was 2011. So, math. I was 20.
Math is hard. Don't worry about
maybe-ish. Yeah.
Math doesn't
24.
live on this podcast.
I was in my early 20s. How about that? You didn't tell me I would ever do math on this
live on this
Katy.
podcast. Go on.
I think it was in my early 20s. I was still in college. Mm-hmm. And
the march.
Well, it's funny because when I did the march, the Slut Walk, I was calling myself Charlie. My middle name is Charles. I had this thing. I just wanted to be Charlie. I wasn't going to be Vanessa anymore. And so if you Google search my name as Charlie, it's just Slut Walk, Slut Walk, Slut Walk, Slut Walk. And my dad was like, you're never going to get a job. No one will ever hire you with this internet footprint.
You're not. Just want to clear this up. You're not getting a job.
This is never going to happen for you. So, but it started because there was something that happened at a college campus in Toronto, and these police officers that were on campus had said to the group about college safety that if you don't want to get raped, you shouldn't dress like a slut. And it sort of spawned this entire worldwide movement. These women who were at the college hosted a walk. They called it the Slut Walk. And it was just to raise awareness around ending victim blaming and slut shaming, and just to stop blaming victims for what has happened to them. And I kept watching, being like, hey, there's going to be a walk in Tampa. There was satellite walks popping up all over the place. And there wasn't one coming up. And finally I was like,
I got to do it.
Maybe I should just do it. Let's just make this happen. And it was awesome. I think we had 500 people come out. And because the name was so provocative, it got picked up by every news station and the radio stations. And 101.5 sent a DJ out. They DJ'd for us. And the coolest part of the walk was afterwards, we did this big share. And we were there for hours of people just sharing their stories of things that had happened to them. And it was this incredible community that came together.
I love that. And you gave power back to those women who got to share their stories.
And a lot of men too. A lot of men had shared their stories.
Which is...
We don't really talk about that much, I don't think.
We don't talk about it enough. But I love that you did that. I love you did your march. I called it your march. It's your walk. But whatever, both is fine. But I do love how at the end everyone got to give themselves a really chance to share. And you had an open platform to do that, and a community that gave them that support. And men to be able to do that is really powerful.
Yeah, and we were lucky enough to have teamed up with some victim advocates. So there was support there for the people that needed it after their share. And people kept being like, are you going to do another one next year? And I just felt like it was sort of like a reactive thing, like a response to something that happened. So we never pursued another one. But I do know that some USF groups have done a couple over the years. In fact, I tried to hand over the Facebook page to them at one point, but I think I was like too old and not cool then.
They didn't accept my old Facebook walk page. And your dad said you want to get a job, and look at you now.
And look at me now, Dad.
You're never going to get a job with your slut walk, okay? So that's funny. I brought it up and you kind of like giggled after, but it's just brings back that. But I love that you're showing that you saw something, you knew there needed, instead of us just always talking about it, you had an action plan, because a lot of times we go to events and people just talk to each other and empower each other, but there's no action plan at the end. Yeah. Like, give me 3 things to do at the end of this. You probably give your action plan at the end of your event with breathwork or some stuff like that, which is really important. So what season are you in? I know you brought that up earlier.
Well, it's funny that you say that about an action plan, because I'm kind of shifting into this really cool season where like I'm like, fuck, what is the plan? Like, what does this look like? But I think sometimes you don't have to know the plan right away.
No.
Like, you can just start and the plan unfolds as it comes. I'm leaning into a way of pairing the real estate with everything else that I'm doing, because real estate keeps showing up in my life in ways that I can't ignore anymore. And my mom just got her license. I love working with people and buying homes. And I haven't quite figured it out yet, but it's going to happen. And I know it's there.
I do think that's so important for real estate agents to love working with people, because that's a new chapter for them, a home. And it's really important because they're building their life in there. I mean,
yeah. And I think the real estate industry approaches real estate in a very masculine way. It's very much a hustle and a grind, and like you have to sacrifice your entire life to like make any money in real estate. And
is that your masculine voice?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, no, that's it.
That's when I'm in my masculine energy. That's what comes out. But I think with anything in life, right, there gets to be this like beautiful feminine flow that is equally as powerful, but less forceful and less even violent, like on our bodies and our relationships, whatever industry you're in.
You're not up all night. You're not working hard. What? I need to sleep.
Right. I have a coaching client. She's a real estate agent, and she the other day was like, I'm at the grocery store, but I got this call and I was like, tell them you'll call them back at 4:00. Like, you're allowed to say those things. And I think whether you're a real estate agent or whatever you do, even if you're just like a parent, like, we drop everything at everybody else's needs. And when you stop doing that and you set some boundaries, you'll be amazed that like things don't fall apart.
No, they don't. That's really important. And you're right with the real estate, because I've had a lot of friends that have left it because they're like, I just can't answer phones all night.
Yeah. Yeah.
But why are people calling you all night? Tell them to call you in the morning.
Exactly. But we've drilled it into real estate agents' brains that
24 hours.
If you don't answer your phone, someone else will. And then you're going to miss out on the money. And then you're going to be poor and in the bottom of the real estate agent group. And like, it doesn't have to be like that.
No, and people get burnt out, and you've probably seen it. How long have you been in real estate now?
5 years.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Did you always know you wanted to do real estate?
No, I just wanted to make some money, and I didn't want to get a real job.
But now you know that real estate's actually a real job?
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay.
My plan was to get my real estate license, and I was like, I'll just do this until I figure out what I want to do. And
you're like, why can't this be what I want to do?
At first, it was tough because I was trying to play by all those old rules. But once I started working with a coach, and he was like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to help women. And he was like, well, why aren't you working with women in real estate? And I was like, can I do that? Like, that's okay. And everybody was like, you can't alienate half the population. You'll never have a successful business. And what I found unintentionally is that, and this is a real statistic, 80% of real estate decisions, whether it's their money or not, is influenced by women. So if you can speak to women in real estate and you can attract women as your clients, it's 80% of the market right there. So it worked. It was ridiculously successful, and I ended up loving it because I was loving who I was getting to work with. And that's the best part of the job.
Yes. And I love how you fact checked yourself. And this is actually, listen, I didn't give you a stat, but I also said, I think. I gave you like a little bit of.
But I think that was a real statistic.
But I like that you fact checked yourself. I appreciate that. It's important. In this show, we want people to get their facts. But that is awesome. So you knew what you like to do.
Yeah.
And, real estate isn't always as sexy as people
No, it's not
right?
sexy
but
at
you
all.
kind of were able to bring the flair to it. You're like, here we go. Let's make it. But it's fun because you're that's one thing. If you like helping people, you can really make your job, job being helping people if you focus on them, and you did. And 80% of women.
Yes. I mean, actually, there's a lot of really good books about how women are really influencing the most of money that's being spent by consumers anyways. So regardless of what your business is, you should be able to talk to women.
We spend that shmoney.
And we have good jobs now, and we're independent human beings with money to spend and disposable income. So start speaking to women.
Yeah. Well, I like that. Thanks for that. We're speaking
action
to the women.
plan number 1.
Right? Boom. So I didn't mean like a full action plan of how I'm going to get there. I just mean like a couple action items. Like, hey, try this when you get home. I don't always have time to write down what I'm thankful for, but I can think it.
You could think it. Yeah. Boom. That's all that matters.
Thank you. And when I write it down, I lose that piece of paper and it's gone. I don't know where it goes.
Or one of the million notes in your phone.
Which I'm so over. I went through my old recordings on my phone. I was like, when did I record this?
You did? I haven't dived into that yet.
Please
I'm
do that.
scared.
Do that for yourself.
Okay. I'm adding it to my action plan.
Second action item. You're welcome. So how many times, I know you are not a person of you have to hit a milestone as a woman. I can just feel that about you. How many times do people ask you when you're having babies? And how annoying is it?
Well, a lot. Everyone,
isn't it?
Everyone asks that question. And I'll give you my honest opinion about it. I don't know.
No, I'm not saying you have to answer. I'm saying people have this milestone thing stuck in their head. And they're like, oh, you just got married? Oh, when are you having babies? Mm-hmm. Oh, when are you having another baby? It's back up.
Yeah.
Back up.
And I honestly think that COVID, I mean, how many COVID babies have there been lately, right? And when all this started, my husband and I looked at, we weren't married yet, and we were like, we're not, this is not happening to us. This is not going to be our thing. We're not doing this. We're not ready.
Action plan 3.
All the protection in the world.
We can Amazon, it's fine. For protection. It's fine. We have it all.
Yes.
No, I feel that.
But I think what's interesting to me about it is that if I'm being honest with you, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like, because there are some days where I'm I need a baby tomorrow. My ovaries are screaming, just give me a baby. I don't care whose it is. I just need it. And then there's other days where I'm I kind of sleeping until noon on Saturdays and not doing shit in the evenings.
That sounds beautiful.
But I don't know. I think both of us are sort of in a place where if it happens when it's supposed to happen, we'll be happy. If it doesn't, we'll be okay with that too. But I'm sick of people being you'll never be ready. Okay, but what if I could just be a little bit more ready? Before you start a business, you research how to have a business plan, what kind of bank account you need.
What's the name of my business so it's not someone else's name?
Exactly. What if you approached having a baby with half of that mindset? How much money do we have in the bank? Do we have an extra bedroom for this baby?
Don't you feel like that would help a little bit?
Yeah. And I think we have to take back this idea that it's just something that happens to you. You can be a little bit in control of when and how you decide to make that decision, or if you decide to make that decision.
Well, I love that perspective too, because again, society norms. Are you gonna stop working when you have the baby? Or are you gonna, that stuff too is just what? First of all, get out of my life.
Yeah. Don't talk to me about work right now.
But I do feel that it's just a really so we're getting to the place where women have powerful jobs or in powerful positions. We spend more money, which is important. But it's when are you gonna just stop asking us when we're reproducing?
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
And I sort of feel like too, there's this duality of like, you don't have to not want to be a mom to have a powerful business. You can be a mom and run a really, I mean, you're kicking ass, right? And I think you can decide what the duality of those two things look like in your life. You don't have to choose one or the other, and you can be a little bit ready. Like, we have to stop acting like this is just something like a hurricane that comes that you can't stop. Like, you can decide. We are living in an age where, like, you have a choice. And I think more than people being like, when are you going to have a baby? That you'll never be ready, it bothers me more. No. Then I just get righteous.
Yeah. I love that you – so I would get very I mean, it's education, too. It's the patience to educate people and not get aggressive like I would. But I went through IVF, so – when I went through IVF and I was pregnant and people were asking me when I was going to have my second.
Oh my God. I
went to like,
imagine.
First of all, I think I also blacked out because I got so aggressive. But I was like, whoa, slow down. I had to like give myself shots. I had to go through a long process to even get pregnant. But I was just like, okay, let me educate you. And I got like super aggressive and sassy, but it's okay. And everyone, do your own thing. But I love to ask people who know their seasons, who have just got married, who are super happy, but also working super hard to be happy and are real about it, to just ask about people always intruded on milestones or their advice. They're like, like your advice. Like, I don't need to know you weren't ready. Like, I don't care.
Right. Right. And I think there's sort of this like, even in the business, like the women in business community is like, there's sort of these vanity metrics. Like, I'm a 6-figure entrepreneur. I'm a 7-figure, multiple 6. Yeah. Like, none of that really means shit if you're not happy behind the scenes. None of that means anything if your business is built on this foundation that's crumbling behind the scenes. So we have to stop looking at everything from this sort of like, when are you going to get to that milestone? And take a step back and just really be there for women.
Yeah. And I like that you took like the boss babe movement. Yes. Love it. Let's do it. But you're right. Like, the competition is real. When you go into some events, like people are just staring at each other and you're like, I don't feel like I signed up for the right event. Like,
this is the right room.
Am I in the right? Is it right here? Is it? And the mean girls shit is still real because girls are, because that's also the mentality of always seeing men in power, I guess, and just feeling like, oh, we shouldn't be here.
Well, and I think too that for so long, we've been told that there's like, okay, they made 2 spots on their board of 10 for women, or look at this one CEO, or the first female vice president, that we sort of all have this like scarcity mindset that there's only room for one of us at the top. And like, really, there could be 10 of you on that board. There doesn't just have to be 2. I know. And I think we got to let that go.
When we highlight that one, you're totally right with that. But it is showing, you're really right with that, because we've seen like, wow, it was probably so hard to get there. Yeah. Wow.
She sacrificed everything.
Her kids don't even know who she is. Like, you're just like, what?
She never even had kids.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, how about that? Yeah. And I loved the picture of all the vice presidents and then Kamala, but I also was like, are you fucking kidding me? It made me super angry.
Yeah.
These guys need new hairdos.
Yeah. Okay, why did it make you angry? Now I need to ask.
Well, it made me angry because I'm like, this shouldn't have happened. Like, why are there so many of the same looking person?
I feel like this is a whole nother podcast.
Damn it, Katie.
But can we also just point out that, like, I mean, I know Kamala Harris is a stepmom, not that doesn't negate it, but like, she never had to take 9 months off to have a baby. Like, she didn't ever have to take maternity leave. So while it's amazing that she's made it to this point, and it doesn't negate what she's done. No, never. We also need to look at the fact that, like, there are things she didn't do that other women are doing, and we need to create a system that supports women who are choosing to do those things and still make it to that level.
You're right.
Which I think European countries do very well.
Well, I think New Zealand with the she's a badass. I think both of her pregnancies, she was she's like, listen, bitches, vote for me. I'm pregnant as fuck.
Nursing a baby.
That's what I want to see more of.
Me too.
Just women at the mic nursing your fucking baby and having your speech and being like, fuck y'all. Yeah. If you think it's sexualized, you're an issue. Get the fuck out of my conference.
Isn't there like a commercial that's coming up? Golden Globes with It's like they were making a big deal of it yesterday. It's like the first commercial to air on TV with a nursing woman. Yeah, the boob. Not that Victoria's Secret commercials don't count, but this one has a baby attached to it, so it's a little different.
This is a different kind of boob.
Totally different.
Totally different kind of boob. But I'm just that person who's like, can we just talk about the issue of who's looking, the women and men looking at them, sexualizing it, not what's happening for this baby to eat right now?
Yep, I'm with you.
So yeah, I do enjoy that perspective too. And that could be a whole nother episode. That could be whatever you feel like doing. You run with it. Because really you drove here not knowing what was going to happen today. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you trusting me in that. And that's what I like to do. If we get to the boobs, we can talk about boobs. Okay, great. And now we're fact checking. So it's fine.
I have all the faith in you.
Thanks for having so much faith in me. So I want to go back to the boss babe thing. When you saw this happening and you made Amplify and you wanted an event where everybody come together, how are you not having more of them a year? Is this one right now your goal? Is there a goal to have more? Is there?
Well, I'll be honest with you. It's a lot of work, and
you're like, that's fucked up. Please don't bring up
all the money that goes into them. And I don't think people realize how much money it costs. I mean, you're talking like decor, lunch, the venue, the speakers.
Because you know the feel you want to bring to it.
Like tens of thousands of dollars that go into this. So usually, in fact, the 2020 event that moved to virtual ticket sales didn't cover the cost of the event. We had to rely on outside sponsors, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that. And I sort of have this internal conflict that I want it to be accessible price-wise to everybody. I didn't want to have a VIP option. In fact, I think we called it like the accelerator option where you just got like additional support. But I hate the idea of like VIP, that like other people are more important than you because they have more money. And it's a costly endeavor and it takes a lot of time. So this 2020 was the first year. It was the second year we did it. I think your lead is amazing. I think your goal is, I was just saying like people probably want it more. You know what I mean? Like you probably have a lot of. Yeah. So the plan was we had a handful of sponsors for 2020 that allowed us to bring in the speakers we wanted. 2021 was supposed to be like even bigger. And then we were going to do a bi-yearly thing, but COVID happened, so we kind of adjusted some stuff. But there's some really cool stuff that we're kind of percolating behind the scenes that are happening.
So right now, are you having to do outside venue, indoor venue? Are you having to cap it?
It's at the West Events, which is actually the same place we got married, which awesome. I love because they have an indoor-outdoor space. So we could keep the doors open. You could do like breathwork in the courtyard.
Oh, I love that.
Our cap is about 150 people. Depending on where we're at in September, we'll make an executive decision. But
I feel like 150 is a good
yeah.
Because you were at 100 and the 2020 event, you brought breathwork to that too, right? Because you had.
And we might in September not be able to do breathwork in person because we don't know if we want people breathing on each other in September. But
we're gonna see where.
There's a lot of things in the air right now, Katie.
Literally in the air. We're gonna see if we can breathe on each other. Yeah.
Keep your mask on.
In September. We'll get back to you on September's breathing on each other.
But the coolest part about the first year was like, and I said this in all of the stuff I put out when we had to postpone through like all of the tears and the crying and hyperventilating, that what really made Amplify so special were like the magic of the hugs and the connections that happened. And I didn't want to do an event where people felt unsafe with other women. So
your whole goal is to be safe with
like if you're like, don't touch me, don't breathe on me, like this doesn't condone anything that we're trying to do.
But you're able to bring the same type of atmosphere with the virtual from their own homes and safe. I know what you're saying. Yeah, especially because 2020.
And I am not really a virtual event fan. It's not really my jam. I think it sucks to be in your house.
Well, because you love connection.
So, so I'm hoping we could do it in person in September. We have a backup plan if we can't, but that is what I'm holding on to.
Yeah. Okay. Action item number 4. Or we might be on 5. I think we'll be on 5. I actually don't remember the beginning, but it's fine. So what does your wonderful spouse do during this time? Is he a part of it? Is he? Okay, cool.
So the first year he was my everything. He like ran the speaker timer. He's a DJ and music producer. So he ran the speaker like clock. He did all the music in between speakers. He was the AV person. Aww. In fact,
First of all, he saved you so much money.
So much money, except he's not really an AV person. So at like the event was supposed to start Saturday at like 9 a.m. And at like 4 o'clock in the morning, we were running to Walmart getting cords we didn't have to like hook up the projector.
Hey.
So on 2 hours of sleep, we made it happen. But no, we actually have like a real AV person now. So he's just moral support.
We thank him for that moment, but we're going to actually get a specialist.
I couldn't have done it without him the first year.
We have a specialist now.
We have a budget. We have a budget now. We're growing.
Oh, I love it. So you have that story. I love that. I love how things start is the best.
Yeah.
You're like, no, we actually put that in our budget. Thank you.
Yeah, we did this year.
Well, 2 hours for a full day event. You had to sleep?
No, I think it was pretty delirious by the end of the day. And then we had an after party, and I now look at the pictures and my eyes are just like so hollow. I don't even think I remember the after party, but it happened and it was great. And then now we're like a real event. But, you know, I think you get to do that, right? Like I just had an idea one day and I was like, I want to do an event. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Mom, let's go look at some venues. We found one. I was like, how much does it cost for this for a whole day? And I think it was like $1,000. And I was like, well, when do I have to pay for it? And she was like, you just have to put a 10% deposit. I was like, I got $100. Like, done. Let's go. Done. And my coach and my parents were like, wait, you what? I was like, no, it doesn't have a name. I don't have any speakers, but like in 3 months, we're having this event.
I love that. And you need to tell people to take the leap, right?
Yeah, do it.
You can't always have it. Yes. You can't be always, you're never going to be ready.
Yeah, right? You could be a little ready, but also like going for it at the same time.
I feel it. Okay, so you've learned a lot about you.
I like to talk.
No, but I'm saying like now you know why you're here.
Yeah.
It's about you. And your amazing hair. I wish my hair looked like that.
Thank you.
So have you noticed so as you're growing, as you're speaking to people, have you noticed a age group that is more like the difference in age of women because of like generational, like who's reaching out to you, especially being in real estate? I feel like new real estate agents, you have the old real estate agents that have to unlearn all that shit, but are they reaching out to you?
Yeah. So it's when I first decided to do this, I had millennials in mind. Mm-hmm. And what I ended up attracting was women in that like 40 to like 50 age group who have been doing it, but were just feeling like burnt out and like they couldn't do it anymore. And they had been putting like their partners and their kids and the dog ahead of themselves and didn't even know that like this was an option for them. And many of my clients are in that age range, which I never expected. Amazing. But I think millennial women, there's so much support for us. Like we're like the therapy generation. There's like 1.5 million coaches. Like everyone is speaking to us. So I definitely have I even have like a Gen Zer client. I love her. But and her thing is like, I'm doing all these things my parents want me to do and I'm not happy. And it's like it's cool to see how like all the expectations kind of affected all of us differently.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. And I love that you have a diverse with generations because I think you're 100% right. 40s to 50s, like that's their season. It should be all about you, right? But work,
kids are out of the house.
Yeah, and you're just still like pouring everything into everything else. Yeah. I love that. I love that they reached out to you.
Yeah, me too.
Did you first think of course, millennials, but when you were marketing, did you notice anything that was focused more on like new season, new you or something like that so people were attracted to it?
I think my whole thing is that you get to be happy and successful at the same time. And I think regardless of how old you are, that is a message that hits with a lot of women.
No brainer.
And too many of us, regardless of age, are told that like we have to do the kids first and the partner first and who's making dinner. And a lot of women, who are they? Gen X? Yeah, Gen Xers. Mm-hmm. They maybe don't have partners that see things that way. So not only are they getting to learn this, but like their partners are getting to learn with them. And
so you charge them twice. I'm just
No,
but you're right. There's so much education and learning. It's unlearning, I tell people.
Yes, rewriting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm unlearning a ton of shit. She just hit herself. I'm just kidding. It's fine. She just fell. It's fine.
Tripped out of my chair.
But it's always unlearning.
Yeah.
Like, and you like look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I expected to have to do this. Or yeah. And sometimes I'm like, man, I don't want to cook.
Right. And how many people feel guilty being like, well, I'll just spend the $15 on Shipt and have the groceries delivered. Like, why do we get like a little tinge of like, guilt. I should be doing that.
I can't believe what?
Yeah. Why am I handing this off? I feel like this is my job. No, it's not your
get
job.
The fucking Shipt thing.
Yeah.
First of all, you're actually helping someone have a job.
Yeah.
And no.
And I think my Shipt thing, they sent like the end of year report because I had signed up with them for a whole year. And it was like 29 hours of time saved grocery shopping. I'm like, that's a whole day.
Yeah, a whole day. And it said, get your ass to the grocery store. But
yes. And maybe I spent that whole day just watching Real Housewives all day. But I needed that day.
You did need that day, that full day. Plus that 5 hours is important. No, but you're right. That is a lot. I love that they give you a report.
Yeah, it's pretty
This is what you've saved. You're like, ooh, what did I do? What did I do for those 29 hours?
Probably watch trashy TV.
Which is okay. That's when you just brain shuts down. That's what you should do. And I definitely feel that guilt sometimes when I'm leaving and like one of the kids are like, don't go work out. And I'm like, what? Now it kicks in like, nope, I need this hour so I'm not screaming at someone later. Like, you shouldn't have me screaming at you. Like,
and how cool that you're showing your kids. Like, your kids aren't going to grow up thinking I have to sacrifice my health for my family.
And my mom for sure sacrificed. Like, and it's fun to watch her do her like, nope, can't help you today. Sorry, I have to do this. And I'm like, I can't say anything because she's right. Damn it. Like, I'm just like, okay.
In your face.
I like your season, but I don't like it that much for me. Selfishly.
But the grandkids.
Yeah, but they really need you today. But I do see that. And I always thought like self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
No. Like, no.
Yeah.
My firstborn to my third, totally different ballgame.
Really?
My first, I was like
interesting.
Watching what, like,
are you breathing?
Have to be here. Are you breathing? Didn't start back to work, which working out isn't my like, I love my body. I work to maybe for another body, like for like to work for another body, for another
the
body.
Next one I'm going to trade
I love
in
my
for.
body. I love the body I'm in while working for the body I want. But
love that.
But when I was with Jaden, like working out is just my mental thing. It's not like I need abs because I haven't found those in years. But
yeah, I don't know. They're there somewhere.
Yeah, they're fine. They're fine somewhere. But I didn't start a workout plan for like 2 years after he was born. I was like high anxiety, and he has like anxiety, this kid. I'm pretty sure I got it from my energy. With this one, I'm like, you're good, girl. Like, walk it out. I'm going to go walk. Your brother, sister are fine here. Your dad's coming. It's fine.
Just hang out at the gym.
Fine. I'll be there.
Hang out on the treadmill. I'll be right back.
With me, and then I'll like bring. So it's and it's true. Like, I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, like, there's just so much reading you can do.
There's only so much you can be ready, but a little bit ready.
A little bit ready for myself.
Yes.
But like, you're not going to know what the kid's going to.
Exactly.
But for you could feel, which I don't feel like I was because I did jump.
Yeah.
And I didn't give myself that little bit of extra like, I'm going to have to do IVF and all that. But I do feel like it is different because I realize like society norm says I have to sacrifice my whole entire life.
Ugh.
Going back to work was hard. I felt guilty. And then I was like, because I had like 40 reps who are like my kids, you know, like adult children. It's fine. But it was just like a horrible thing because all of it was society in my head, like the whole time.
So how did you let that go? Did you? Were you able to?
No. I had to hit like a low. And then
and
I was like,
what a
wait
shame
a second.
that's what it takes for women to have to
wake the fuck up and be like, you don't have to do this.
Like we need to, and I think that is a symptom of that mindset of like, you'll never be ready. Like, but what if we could? Like, what if we could tell women like, be prepared for this to happen, but we're not going to make you feel all that guilt and shame and weight of the pressures.
Yeah. And they don't talk about that stuff either.
No.
Like, they don't talk about the hard parts. And when I would tell people like breastfeeding was hard, this was hard. They're like, wow, they always are like, oh, it's a bond. It's hard. Yeah. Like 100%.
It's work. It's like,
I wanted to quit multiple times.
Full-time job.
When I calculated the hours, I don't know where check. Is someone sending me a check?
Yeah. I feel like the government should just like hand them out.
Nope. They don't know my hourly. Do I tell them? Like, who am I? Who's them? And who's
What's the
sending
minimum wage for breastfeeding?
Can we, since someone Google that for me?
And if you can't breastfeed, you should still get opted into the program as well. So you also get the money.
You're still feeding. Yeah. But I always tell people too, I'm like, I hate people like, breast is best. I'm like, no, a fed baby is the best baby.
Yeah.
Like, just feed them. Just please get them something. I mean, not alcohol or anything, but like real stuff. Like, like I hate, it's the shaming too that comes in there. So
you can't win.
I think in women's groups, it's just shame.
Yeah.
But I love that you're amplifying.
Yeah.
Trademark other women to just cheer each other on. It's really it. Like whatever season you're in, let's cheer each other on. And here's some tips. Here's some breath work you can do along the way, wherever you're going. And here's your support group.
And I think so much of what I am about, and I know what you're about just from following all your stuff and like being in your circle, is it doesn't have to look like anybody else's journey. Like you get to decide, and we as a community have to stop. The more rules we apply to the other side of things, the more we're just like matching the energy of patriarchy. Like we need to just stop assigning these standards and these qualities and this bullshit, that these boxes that we need women to fit into, and just kind of support all of us in figuring out our own shit in a way that feels good for us.
Yeah, but I would like to have the box of being a shitty human and still being able to succeed like men get to do. If that box is available.
I don't really know if I want to be in that box. There's probably a lot of douchebags in that box.
Just kidding. I don't know. But I was saying like
like the energy of like a mediocre white man.
Yeah. We're totally going off on tangents, and I love it. So I think it was Sarah Silverman I was listening to, and she said how she met a comedian who was like, just like an average white dude, like mediocre. And he's just like, it's really hard being us right now. And she's like, it must be nice to feel like that and just be mediocre your whole life.
And you know what's interesting? Okay, moving away from the mic now. Sorry.
She's so upset. She just totally moved away from the mic.
Okay, but here's what I have to say.
To be mediocre and just still get there.
And I kind of, on one hand, get it, because they've kind of been fed this thing their whole life that like they can do no wrong. Women just want you. You just have to take what you want. And now all of a sudden people are going, excuse me, like somebody lied to you. That's not how this works. And I understand where that fear comes from, but the change
I love your
isn't bad.
View on that, to say I understand what they've learned. And yeah,
but like give us a chance here. We're human beings with feelings and needs, and we don't even want more. We just want to be like part of the equation. That's it. And that's not asking too much.
Yeah, or being like, oh, she's super aggressive. Do you hear her trying to tell us what to do in a meeting? And you're like,
yeah,
what?
Do it. What's that TikTok? So do it.
So I get TikTok sent to me. I can't get in the TikTok thing because
hole.
I scroll and scroll.
It's a deep hole.
It is a deep hole. And I do want to give my kids that attention when they need it, like, so my sister will send me random TikToks, and like my friends will send me ones that are hilarious. So I'm glad they're doing the work. Well, I just get to benefit.
It's like a love language now. TikToks are my love language. Thank you for
letting me benefit from this, and you're doing the work scrolling and finding them.
Like all your friends are curating your own like mini For You page. You don't even have to do the work.
Thank you. Even though like everyone in marketing is like, that's the new thing. And I'm like, I can't. Like, I get you got like 1 million followers overnight, but I don't want those 1 million followers. Do I?
You don't need them. How about that? You just do whatever you want. Make your own rules, Katy.
Thank you. Like, do I? Make your own. Thank you. TikTok. But I do. There's some of them are gems. Like,
people are so funny. Like, I look at some of these TikToks and I'm like, can I just be in your brain for like one day? I don't even need a whole day. Just like a couple hours. I want to know what's happening in that brain of yours.
And I want to know how, like, some TikToks take like hours to make.
Yes.
And this small little thing.
Yeah.
But I want to be there.
Seconds.
Of hilarious. I love
for 1 million followers.
But yeah,
it's like a new currency.
So you worked hard for that. Are you TikToking yourself?
A little bit. So TikTok has been really fun for me because I think when you are building a business online, so much of online becomes like business and social for business. And TikTok has kind of just been like a way to get really creative and fun and political. And like I talk about having ADD and politics and cats and stupid shit. And I don't have a million followers, but I'm having fun and being creative. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very cool outlet that we all need.
And it's your personality instead of having to be business, action items, all that fun stuff. But you control your social and stuff?
Yeah.
What goes out and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I follow you.
Yeah, I do all my own stuff.
Yeah, which is important because it gives your voice.
Yeah.
Even though I work for a marketing company, which we are able to.
Yeah. But I mean, I think there comes a point where that it's good to leverage that.
But TikTok would always be you because it's you.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I haven't leveraged social media yet because I'm realizing how to give up control. And when you in order to give up control of that, you have to be able to articulate what you're handing over. Mm-hmm. And I'm sort of in a season of kind of refining that and fleshing that out. So hopefully it will happen one day. But for now, it's me.
So with having ADD and taking on so much, do you notice people reaching out to you on how to kind of manage that with all the tasks that, especially with not giving people control of certain things and things?
Yeah, I have no notifications from social media that come to my phone. I don't even have Facebook or Instagram on my home screen anymore.
Because it was just
I have to like swipe and search for Instagram to pull it up. So it's like I decide when I have the energy to respond and engage. Because it can take over your life.
But did you notice that because it did for like a couple months?
Yeah, and it got to the point where like I couldn't even hear my own ideas. I was like, wait, is that an idea I have?
Oh,
is that like a message I thought of? Or like, am I just consuming too much of other people's noise? And I think sometimes you just have to turn the volume down
so you can hear your own
stuff.
I don't ever have notifications on my phone, but I noticed like because my third child was born 3 weeks before like everybody went into quarantine. I was reading so many articles while like pumping and it got in like my head and I was going in like a deep like fear unknown like that. And it was all social media related. Yep. So I just kind of shut down everything because you have to think how sad it is for like high schoolers who don't understand like what's going on with their anxiety or something because they're on social all day, but we can read it. Like we're just like, oh, by the way, I haven't had contact with a human in days because I've been on social.
It's been
85 years. It's been 85 years. But what's good is I got 100 likes today.
Yay,
Thank you.
Validation.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the other thing too, right? Like everybody's like, well, what if you miss a client? Like what if somebody's trying to reach you? Okay. If that client doesn't want to work with me because I only respond to messages a couple hours each day, they're probably not a good client for me.
Gosh, and that's such an amazing message to teach people who are online business, like because they think I have to be by my phone all day.
Yeah.
You can't.
And if you invite those people in, that's how you have to show up. And I cannot be that human being, so I just have come to terms with the fact that those are my people and that's okay.
Well, and you know how you can be successful and that's not being a bitch. It's literally saying like, I can't handle that. Like, right. Yeah. I know when I'm going to be successful for you when you like, we have to collaborate essentially.
Exactly.
But people are probably like, whatever.
Yeah.
Are you ignoring your DMs? And you're like, what?
Or the other thing is, don't open it until you're in a headspace that you can respond because they can see that you've opened it. So just wait. It's not going anywhere. It will be there in a couple hours. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There are days. Last night, I had some real estate stuff going on. I was up till 10:30.
Oh, there's
going
days,
back and forth.
You could handle it.
But I am so in control of the other areas of my life that moment where it was needed didn't throw everything into a tizzy because I prepared for that.
Oh, that's so important. I actually love that. Do you notice you're having to give social media advice to your clients?
Oh, yeah. It's
crazy how it's like, it's just crazy. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you still use it. It's a tool. I work for a marketing company. Social media is a tool. But knowing when it's not a great thing for you is really important.
I mean, it's like anything, right? Like, you can't eat ice cream every single day and expect to like not feel the repercussions of eating ice cream every single day. No, I mean, you can eat ice cream every single day in moderation, but if that was the only thing you ate at every meal, you would be sick. And forget like weight, but like your body would not be able to handle that. And it's the same thing with social media, right? Like you can use it in moderation as you need it. If you're using it for business, you have to be very intentional about it because it is very addictive. And I mean, it's like drinking, right? Smoking weed, like everything. You can't just balls to the wall, do whatever you want.
Drunk and high right now. How dare you, Vanessa? How dare you? Drinking a bottle of champagne. Yeah. I'm feeling attacked. She's attacking me.
No, like personal accident.
Well, I love this. Okay, so I have 1 billion listeners for the podcast.
Okay.
So what do you want to tell them about Vanessa?
Oh my God.
I love doing this to people because they're like, I don't really talk about myself like that, but okay, here you go.
What do I want to tell them about me?
Mm-hmm. Check out your TikTok. They'll know.
No,
I'm just kidding. I was just kidding.
Yeah, probably. It's like a great insight to the inside of my brain. Just cats all day. I am scared 80% of the time.
Oh, that's
relationships.
I love that it was vulnerable.
Business.
You're the best.
Everything. But I don't think that has to stop us from doing anything. You'd get to do it scared. And
that's a real stat.
Yeah, it is. It's a real stat from my own brain.
Yeah, I love that. And you just say put fear in the back seat and ride with it.
I mean, I think you could put it in the front seat and make friends with it. And it gets to be a superpower because I think being scared, you get to really feel all the emotions.
I love that. It's your superpower.
Yeah.
You'll feel full. Did you like my accent? I hope you did.
It was great.
What other, I know advice is just like a weird word. What else would you like to say to our listeners before we go and tell them all about your social handles? But don't be addicted to social media when I tell your social handles. Don't get in the hole.
I think, okay, this is something that I've been in a season of learning this whole last year is to stop forcing things. Stop trying to make things happen. Show up, do the work, acknowledge the fear, go deep, and just surrender. Things will happen. The things that are supposed to happen will happen if you stop forcing everything that everybody else is telling you to do to happen.
Okay. Shut the voices off.
Yeah.
Love that. Let's go over your social handles so people can scroll and stalk you. Go.
My Instagram is at I am Vanessa Charles. My Facebook is the same thing, but with a slash, not an at. And the Amplify group on Facebook is amazing. It's just a community of about 900 women. We're kind of rolling out some really cool stuff in there this next month. And that's where I'm at.
Love it. And you have a website?
I don't have a website.
No, look at you killing it.
Don't.
So Vanessa, thank you. Can you also give a shout out to your dad?
My dad.
To let him know you did find a job.
I did it, Dad.
After that.
Okay, if you follow me on social media, I post a lot of content about my dad because he says a lot of crazy shit. He literally just had COVID in the beginning of January, and he's like still kind of like weak and recovering. I showed up to his house yesterday. He's sitting on a chair waxing his car. I'm like, what are you doing?
Trying to get his energy back.
Yeah, I talk about my dad a lot on social media.
I love that. So I loved having you on. I'm so glad we connected. There'll be more of these. There'll be more episodes because I feel like I opened up a couple can of worms, which is great. You can find Vanessa at Not a Great Whisper podcast page, katyray.com, at The Real K Ray, and my Facebook, Katy Ray, and Katy Ray. We're at BK. We're at BK and Creative Studios in Ybor City. And I appreciate you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was awesome.